The Speedgoat 2 from Hoka. Is this going to be a trail beast or a trail bust? So here we have the new, awesome looking, somewhat dusty from the runs I've done, trail shoe from Hoka. We're talking big cushioning here, as you can see, lots and lots and lots of squiggy cushioning. We've got the Vibram rubber outsole, lots of 5mm lugs there with lots of gorgeous grip. We've got a mesh upper with a welded overlay. And we've got really the shoe that Hoka wants you to take on those really serious hardcore trail runs. 278 grams in a UK size 8. Heel to toe drop, you've got 4mm. I mean, really, this is just their take on if you were going to go and do really any length of trail run, and even if you were going to do like a kind of ultra marathon type thing, and I've seen some of their sponsored athletes who do ultra marathons wearing these, clearly trying to promote them. This is the shoe that Hoka wants you to buy. I've done a few runs in it, and I've done the 42k trail race to share in it, so this is really very much my experience, and you can see it's still got the dust of the trail on it from wearing this shoe in race conditions. First of all, let's get into what I think is pretty great about the shoe. Okay, so let's start off with this grip, this Vibram sole. This thing grips for days. I mean, it literally just latches on. I went through all sorts of trails in this. I didn't have any slip, it just gripped. Even some of those bits where I'm going up really steep stuff and I'm thinking, oh, I hope my feet aren't going to slip here. It never slipped once. This thing was mustard. It just gripped and went, so that's fantastic. The cushioning works brilliantly. It works, it kind of in harmony with the outsole, and it feels almost like a kind of car suspension where you'd hit stones and pebbles and stuff on the trail, and you'd almost feel like the sole and the midsole there were sort of working in harmony, where it would ride out the stuff, so you could feel what was going on underneath your feet, and yet all that jaggy, nasty stuff was being dealt with by the sole. So your feet are all nice and cushioned and soft and everything's all great, but you can totally feel what's happening underneath, and the cushioning is almost acting like a suspension, like a car suspension, or the car dampers, car suspension. Anyway, it worked really, really well. Wasn't getting any hot spots here on the upper, so that was great. The laces dialed in really well. The heel didn't slip. So all of this section, basically everything sort of there and here was really, really good. But it's not all shiny medals and happy finish line photos. There is a kind of point on this where it all goes a bit wobbly, and that would be this section. This is a very, very snug fitting shoe. Now, I was actually quite okay with sort of snugness around here, because when I was on the trail and when I'm sort of, you know, moving around with the trails all a bit kind of all over the place, and you're trying to avoid a muddy bit and a slippery bit, and you're leaping from a rock to rock, it held in place really well. And at that point, the snugness felt like it was working in your advantage. It was helping you. But this kind of all comes like an arrow point. It's not foot shaped. I mean, okay, it's not like an ultra shoe, but it's too pointed, or it is at least for my foot. So really, for the first 10 miles of the race, I was thinking this was the best trail shoe ever. And kind of the mid part of the race, my toes were starting to ache, and towards the end, it was just too much. I think for a start, you've got to try this on. Don't just buy it online and think that'll be fine. You might want to go up half a size, but really, you're going to need to try it on. If you've got broad feet, this is going to be a bust. plain and simple. I can't imagine if you've got broad feet, this is going to do good for you. If you've got sort of average width feet, which is kind of what I consider my feet to be, good for middle distance races. But I think if you're going to have, if you've got middle-sized feet or average-sized feet, I think you're going to struggle with a long-distance race, because after a while, that toe box, that is going to get right on your nerves, and it's going to detract from your enjoyment of the race. And it's a real shame, because if this was just a little bit wider and a little bit more foot-shaped in the toe box, I would say this is the best trail shoe I've ever bought. But it's not. It's too pointy. If you've got narrow feet and sort of pointy toes, you probably will think that this is an absolute trail beast of a shoe, and you will think this is made, well, you might think, I mean, you might not, but I would suggest that you will think this thing is absolutely amazing. But just this bit here, just why they made it that narrow and pointy, it's just kind of, you know, you want to, oh, because it's so close to amazing. But I think for a good chunk of us, maybe 2/3 of us, it's just a bit too pointy. I mean, if I was going to go out and do a 10K trail race, there's one I've seen coming up soon, which I really fancy doing, so I might well wear this, and I'm sure I'll have a great time with it. But if I was going to go and do another long distance trail race, this would not be the shoe I would choose. But if this had been a bit bigger, or if I had slightly narrower feet maybe, or more pointy shaped feet, I absolutely would. So if you try it on, and depending on your foot shape, this could be amazing, but there's a good chance it might not be. I think all in all, it's such a shame, because the rest of the shoe is so good. It's a 4-star shoe. It's so nearly an absolute 5, but no, it's got to be 4. Because I think it's just limited in the number of people who are going to get on with this. Hoka, please, just make this just a better shape, and yeah, Speedgoat 3, please, just a wide, normal shape footed version that the rest of us can all wear. Yeah, bummer, eh? Yeah, really, so close to brilliance. And with that, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.